So expectation's like the core thing here, right? You can't have worry without expectation. You can't have hope without worry, because hope is the relief, is about the relief of the worry. You can't have frustration without hope, because you have to have the thing to hope for, and then your hopes are dashed. That's frustration. Disappointment is in there somewhere, or it could be. It's all based on that expectation. The seed of all of it is expectation. After that seed, there's different branches that can form. Imagine there's a flash of lightning. Then I say to my little sister, hey, thunder is coming in just a moment. Listen, listen. Thunder, it's going to come. Seriously. We listen. We listen more. We keep listening. Maybe lightning flashes again. We keep listening. Okay, I'm getting a little bit embarrassed. My little sister says, there was no thunder. You lied to me. And, okay, there's a problem. There's a problem. So when I expect something myself, and then I tell other people about it, and I give them that expectation, I share it with them, but it does not happen as I predicted, that can be disappointing. Uh-oh, I've disappointed them. They may get angry at me for setting up an inaccurate expectation. I may have disappointed them, and then they may punish me with criticism and anger and blame, and they're going to call me a liar, and they're going to say, I can't trust your, when you tell me what to expect, and then it doesn't happen. I mean, well, right, it could be just horrible. I mean, gosh, I can't even imagine anything to be worse than that, right? So they're frustrated, and I'm the source of their frustration or whatever, right? That kind of thing. Oh, man, this is bad. The expectation led to the disappointment. If I'm interested in the attention of my little sister and in being respected by my little sister, and I want her to be interested in me, well, then I would want to avoid disappointing her, right? I want to fulfill her expectations and be the champion hero, savior, right? Important. I want to be important, right? So I tell her, I can predict thunder. Yeah. It's very simple. I know how to do that. Yep, I'm an expert on thunder, pretty much. Yep. So, but that would be the kind of exaggeration that I might make. Even if I wasn't really an expert on thunder, I might make an exaggerated claim like that because I'm interested in my sister's expectations, her approval, her attention, her respect, all of that kind of stuff, right? However, if I was not really concerned at all about whether she was disappointed, whatever she expected or not, then I would not worry about her approval or her respect. I don't care if she respects me. If I don't care about if she respects me or not, then I wouldn't care if she respects me. Can you get the logic that? If I don't care if she's disappointed or not, then I don't really care if she's disappointed by me or not, because I don't care about her. In contrast, if I do care about her, then I could be concerned about these things. I might have some expectations that, well, if good things happen for her, it's going to be good for me, and if bad things happen for her, it's going to be bad for me, and all that kind of stuff. So, if I don't care whether she was disappointed or not, I might not even notice whether she is disappointed. You remember that 4-year-old girl in Guatemala, and the 73-year-old man in Indonesia. You remember what happened to them yesterday? No, because you don't care. If you're 6,000 miles away from those people, you've never met them, you don't care. You only care about the things you care about, I promise. You only care about the people you care about, I promise. People in Haiti or Cuba get slammed by Hurricane Sandy, whatever. But your friend or your friend's sister in New Jersey or New York and New England gets I got wet in Hurricane Sandy. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, you got wet, really? Or, maybe something pretty severe. Maybe their house got destroyed or they died or whatever. But the person in Cuba or in Indonesia or in Ecuador or in Arkansas, do we actually care about those kind of places? I don't mean to say, okay, if you're in Arkansas, then I apologize. If you're in any of those other places, then it's no big deal because you're not you're not, you're like, I don't care about people who aren't, from Arkansas, basically, because right? So there's the group of people that I care about, and then everybody else, which is the vast majority of people. There's like 7 billion people or whatever. I care about like less than 1% of them in terms of, I'm not even on a first name basis with the vast majority of them. I know a lot of people are named, James and John and stuff like that, but seriously, just if you count all of those people named James and John and stuff like that, I still am not on a first name basis with the vast majority of people, seriously. So I don't care about most people. That's the reality. Or I don't care much about most people. I don't care if they were disappointed yesterday. I don't care if they were worried yesterday. I don't know if they care if they had an expectation that it wouldn't have 85 mile an hour winds there if they didn't know about the hurricane, or if they didn't, I just I can't be focused on 7 billion people's everything. I have my own one everything, and that's it. And amongst my one everything, I'm connected to the various people I'm connected to in the various ways I am, and that's it. All right, so first, I experienced an expectation. What is the expectation? That after lightning will be thunder. It doesn't have to be a hurricane. Just after lightning, there will be thunder. Okay? Then, I'm so interested in others that I create the same expectation for those others. Perhaps to impress them, because I want my little sister to respect me, to worship me, to count on me. Did I say worship? That was a strong word. To respect me, to worship me, and to send me donations and whatever, right? So then the expectation about the thunder following lightning, then it's violated. It doesn't happen. Uh-oh, I told my sister it would happen. It didn't happen. My expectation's violated. Her expectation's violated. The expectation is not fulfilled. It's unfulfilled. There was an expectation. It's unfulfilled. The expectation is disappointed. The disappointment only could happen because of that prior expectation. The expectation of hope, or I'm talking so fast now. The expectation or the hope, when dissolved, can be disappointing. So we had the expectation. It disappears. It dissolves. We discard it. We're like, oh, that was inaccurate. I hoped that school would be canceled by the storm, but okay. Now I'm frustrated. Now I'm disappointed. I think I'm going to have to go to school. I'm going to have to take the test. I expect it to be disappointing. Wow. So I might have an expectation of fear. I might be worried about taking tests or whatever. If an expectation of fear dissolves, that can be relief. My hope can be, fulfilled even temporarily. Oh, wow, I have relief because I think worried about, maybe I won't have to take the test. Oh, gosh, what a relief. I won't have to take the test, which I expect to be disappointed. Or I find my homework. I thought I didn't save the file in the computer. I find a backup copy. Oh, I do have it. I don't have to rewrite it. Oh, what a relief. I better print it out right now. I think I'll print 5 copies and I'll spread them out in various places and put one in my backpack. I'm going to put one in that folder. I'm going to email one of them out, right? So I have this sense of, oh, here's the method that I can use to fulfill my interest. And the interests, really, they're always related to a fear or a worry. There's always something that we want to fulfill as it relates to a worry, an interest, a concern. Okay? We can say, well, I also want to have lots of children. Okay, but the idea with having lots of children is that I might want to have lots of children. If I think about it consciously, that's kind of weird, right? Why am I thinking about it? That means I don't have lots of children, and I'm thinking it would be better if I did. Well, I don't. And maybe it would be better. Maybe it wouldn't, but maybe it would be better. Huh. Maybe other people would like me better. Maybe I would be more satisfied or more fulfilled. I would be more happy if I just eventually had more children. Well, what if I was just happy with what I have right now? I mean, maybe I would have more children, but what if I was just happy now? So there are expectations, and then there are ways of relating to an expectation. I can have, for any expectation, I can have neutral curiosity. Okay, I'm open to that. I could have repulsive fear in varying degrees, like terror, cynicism, skepticism, some degree of repulsion or resistance. Or, for any expectation, I could have attractive hope. I could have a desperate hope. I could have just delight. I could have kind of a mild, oh, that sounds pretty good, mild kind of attraction. So, if I am only curious about something, but then the expectation about it dissolves, well, that may be confusing, but so what? I didn't really care if there was going to be thunder after the lightning. I don't really care if my little sister's disappointed. I mean, this is my little sister's, whatever. Maybe that's my attitude. Maybe it's kind of neutral like that. Or maybe it's even like, yeah, I'm going to pretend to care about my little sister, but I really don't. I'm actually jealous of her or whatever, right? So you have all these possible twists. If I fear some expectation and it dissolves, that's relief. I fear taking that test. I don't want to take the test. I don't want to take the test. I hope that the storm cancels school today. I hope that the storm cancels school today. So I'm desperate. I fear some expectation, and then the storm. My prayers are answered, and the storm is bad, and it cancels school, and there's relief. And now I never have to take that test until tomorrow. I never have to take that test ever again until tomorrow. And there's just tremendous temporary relief. It's just tremendous temporary relief. Oh my God, there's so much relief temporarily. It's just delightful that now we have no school and I don't have to take the test until tomorrow. So, wow, okay? If I hope for some expectation and it dissolves, that's disappointing. Wait a minute, I thought there was no school today. Now you're saying okay, I don't come to school today, but they're going to email me the test and I have to take it from home and I do have to take, okay, that sucks. That's disappointing. There's sadness, there's sorrow, there's regret, there's fear, there's anger, who to blame, right? All those things. Wait a minute, I thought I was going to be able to go and I was going to be able to go and visit my lover, and it turns out that the train is late and the airplane is canceled because of the storm. Oh, now I'm really disappointed. Oh, and then she was hoping for me to arrive and it was going to be great, and now it turns out not to be, it's not going to happen. Whew, all right, so hope leads to disappointment sometimes. Hope is secondary to fear, to worry. Hope is an expectation for the relief of a particular fear or a particular worry. That's what hope is. You can't have hope without expectation and a resistance to that expectation. And then here's the relief to this expectation I'm resisting. We call that hope. That's what hope is. So first is expectation. Next is relating to the expectation, like fearing it. In a particular way of relating to it is fearing it. I'm saying that's a bad thing. I don't want that to happen. Then, if the expectation is unfulfilled, that's confusion. I expected it to be fulfilled, and now it's not, so I might be confused about that. If I keep trying to produce a result to cause an effect, and I keep failing, that's the arising of frustration, because I had a hope, and then I kept, and then frustration came because it wasn't working out for me. So I have a little set of arrows there. Expectation leads to confusion sometimes, which then can lead sometimes to frustration. So for there to be frustration, there must be a fear about failure. Failure is not inherently frightening. I take a test, I pass it, I fail it. But what if I have fear of failure? When there is fear about failure, like worry, then there can be desperation, which can lead to hope, and then a frustration of that hope. So let's give a bigger version there on the blog. You can see on the left, expectation, it can lead to confusion. That confusion can lead to worry. What am I going to do? How am I going to resolve this? How am I going to get to clarity? How am I going to get fulfillment? And then that can lead to desperation. I don't know how. And then hope, oh, here's a possible way for me to have relief and fulfillment and so on. And then frustration, it didn't work. The thing that I thought was going to work, I hoped it would work, and it didn't. Ah, man, right? So I notice lightning, and I tell my little sister lightning is coming. I had the expectation of thunder, and I share it with her. Then thunder does not come. I notice that I'm confused. She's a bit confused too. She asks me, what is going on? She does not really care, but she's curious. Okay, so she asks, what's going on? Again, lightning flashes. Again, I say, expect thunder any moment now. Expect thunder any moment now. But still, there's no thunder. I begin to doubt my expectation. I wonder, what is wrong? What's wrong? I worry about my entire worldview and all of the expectations I've come to rely on. What if my expectations are actually just expectations? Uh-oh. Now we're getting serious. Now we're getting really serious. So, what if my expectations are actually just expectations? What if there's no such thing as a guarantee? Except, like a written guarantee, like a legal guarantee, which means a legal liability for penalties if an expectation is unfulfilled. So we know that if the expectation might be unfulfilled, and if it isn't, then there's some guarantee of money back or whatever. But that means that it's possible that the thing that's guaranteed won't happen. It's just if it doesn't happen, then there's some guarantee, some legal remedy in place. The guarantee does not mean the expectation will definitely be fulfilled. But the guarantee just means that there is a legal promise of a particular liability for compensation of some kind, like a refund, whenever certain conditions arise, and they may. So the guarantee doesn't mean it's inevitable or definite. It means in the case of the relatively unlikely thing, probably unlikely, we have a plan B that's pretty attractive. It's a guarantee in case of the thing that we're hoping to avoid. We have plan B. So when the thunder does not come, I promise thunder and it doesn't come. Well, when it doesn't come, I worry what's going on. That means I question or doubt my expectation. I worry, I question or doubt my expectation. Maybe the expectation is wrong. If I do not care much about the specifics of the expectation, then I wouldn't worry. Okay, maybe it was wrong. Fine, it was wrong. Whatever. My expectation was wrong. I don't have any new expectation to replace it, or maybe I do. Maybe I refine the expectation and I replace it with a more accurate one if I do care a little bit or whatever. Maybe I care a lot, but if I don't care at all, my expectation was wrong, whatever. If I really care about whether the thunder will follow the lightning, then I may worry about my reputation and my personal safety. Will people attack me if in fact there is no thunder after the lightning, there is no storm, they don't have to go to school, they have to take no, they do have to go to school, if school doesn't get canceled, they have to take the test, and then my personal safety could be threatened because all the bullies in there want to beat up me, and oh my gosh. So, will my parents still love me if my little sister tells them that I lied to her about the thunder? I mean, should I tell my little sister about Santa Claus, or should I play along with, it's so much stress, right? So, again, lightning strikes. Oh, just what I needed now. Lightning strike. By now, whenever lightning strikes, I'm beginning to doubt my expectations about what will happen next. I thought there was going to be thunder, but I don't know. Maybe there won't. Maybe there will. Sometimes I hear thunder after the lightning, and sometimes you do not. My little sister says, was that thunder? Did you hear that? I think it sounded a little bit like thunder, don't you? Oh, now she's messing with me. Okay, she's just messing with me now. Then she says, but it really was not as loud as thunder obviously should be, right? It was pretty quiet. I don't know if that counts as thunder. She's messing with me! I'm embarrassed. I'm ashamed. I'm going to punch her. I'm going to pull her hair. I'm going to avoid her, because I'll get in trouble if I punch her or pull her hair. So what I'm going to do to punish her is I'm going to avoid her. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And then I'm going to run faster than her, because I can run faster. I'm going to keep repeating to her. I'm going to tell her over and over and over and over and over again, I can run faster than you. I can run Why am I doing that? Because she said the thing about the thunder. I'm going to tell her that I can run faster than her, because I'm going to try and shame her by how much faster and better I am, because anybody who can run faster than another person must be better, right? Cool. Okay, I'm glad you agree. So, we have expectations, but more loosely, because we heard the we saw the lightning, and we heard thunder occasionally. So we still expect thunder whenever we hear whenever we see lightning, whenever we hear lightning. But sometimes we're noticing it doesn't always work. So it's maybe 80% of the time, because we're statisticians. So we think, okay, it's 82%. Whoa, what is it? Another time, thunder didn't happen. Oh, drop the percentage down to 80. 80% of the time, after lightning, we hear thunder. We have expectations, but more loosely. So they're not like, we're not expecting it 100% of the time. We're expecting usually, by which I mean 82% of the time, usually there will be thunder after lightning. We have expectations, but more loosely. Or maybe we have some very precise expectations that 82% of the time, right? And that's what we expect. And we expect it 82% of the time. So if we have 100 times, 82 of those times should be thunder, right? And then if we have a few times that it's not thunder, well, it's not a big deal, because there's still another few times, right? Because 82 is still right. I know it's the right amount because I measured this, okay? Look, I read this in a book. Don't argue with me. It's 82% of the time, okay? Listen, I know what I'm talking about. We have expectations, but more loosely. Okay, maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. Maybe it's approximately 80% of the time. Maybe I'm not that interested. Okay, whatever. Most of the time, I'm not going to be specific. Most of the time after lightning, there's thunder. I have expectations, but more loosely. I'm a little bit confused about them. I really don't know why there's not thunder sometimes and why there is thunder most of the time. I don't know. We're confused about these issues, about these expectations. We're worried that they may be inaccurate, if we care, or we may not be worried. We may be like, oh, they might be inaccurate. Maybe there's no connection between thunder and lightning. I thought there was. Maybe not. Maybe so. I don't know. So, of course, what do we do to resolve this? We get an advanced technological device that can measure thunder very precisely. It measures, like an earthquakeometer, right? It measures vibrations of thunder and earthquakes, stuff like that. Oh, that was a 0.3 thunder rumble on the Richter scale. Oh, that was a 0.7 thunder rumble, right? So we've got our Richter scale thunder rumbler measurer-ometer, and we set it up, my sister and I, because we're really scientifical. So we were a bit desperate about establishing whether our expectations are accurate and inaccurate. Why are we desperate? Because we want our parents' attention and affection and love and stuff like that, which is in question, right? Because otherwise we wouldn't be doing all this stuff with the thermometer measurement device for like knowing the amount of rumbling and how often does rumbling happen when you have when there's lightning. Will there be thunder and how much? And right, so we're desperate. We're a bit desperate about establishing whether our expectations are accurate or inaccurate, and precisely exactly how accurate are they. We don't know. We're a bit desperate. We're interested, by which I mean desperate. We're interested, by which I mean desperate. And we get this technological device to measure things. So we got an 82% chance of thunder and lightning. 82%. It's most of the time when there's lightning, thunder. Okay. Let's do some research and calculate what we find. Not 82%. I was wrong. Sorry about that. That was my sister told me that. She's not very reliable. Anyway, 62% of the time, it turns out, 62% of the time, my sister and I detect thunder after lightning. About 50% of the time, the thunder is within 4 seconds of the lightning. Okay? About half the time, okay, it's actually 50.20973% of the time, but about 50% of the time. Okay, thunder is within 4 seconds of the lightning. Sometimes there are 2 flashes of lightning, less than 4 seconds apart. Really messes up the whole thing. That, of course, is very confusing and frustrating. I mean, we're desperate. We want our parents' attention and love and affection and stuff, and then you have 2 lightning strikes within 4 seconds. That's really messing up our whole process here, our whole study, our whole research. Okay, what are we going to do? Okay, we resolve this issue quite simply by agreeing to ignore any data that does not fit our simplest models of expectation. It doesn't fit our technological measurement devices. It doesn't fit our model. We just ignore when there's lightning twice within 4 seconds. Okay, forget about it. Just ignore it. What do I call that stage of disregarding experience that does not fit the expectation? I call it desperation, as in despair. Can you get that there's like a panic in the theater and drama that I was just presenting? There's a degree of hysteria and panic. And it's actually really common that people will have expectations, they'll get violated, they'll start to discard experiences that don't fit their model in desperation. They're discarding experiences that don't fit the model. So here's the the sequence, the little italics sequence with the arrows. Expectation can lead to confusion. Confusion can lead to worry. Wait a minute, maybe you're saying my model is wrong? I'm worried about that. And then worry can lead to desperation. Desperation can lead to hope. Oh, relief of my worry. Okay, relief of the desperation. Okay, hope. Here's okay, hope. And that can lead to frustration, because I thought that the thing I thought what you said was going to work, and now you're telling me it's not going to work? Okay, now I'm freaking mad, all right? I'm freaking mad. No, I'm not mad. I'm frustrated. No, I'm just disappointed. The frustration that came from the hope, that came from the desperation, and so on, that frustration can lead to disappointment. Whatever, maybe there's a different order to put these in. Whatever, I don't really care. Okay, listen, I'm not trying to get your approval, little sister. All right? Expectation could lead to disappointment. It could lead to disappointment by way of confusion, worry, and desperation, and hope, and frustration. And don't listen. If you don't listen. Just read it. Like, look on the screen of the blog and read it. It's right there. It's right there. Listen. It's right there. If you don't like it, then I'm sorry. I apologize. Listen, I didn't mean for you not to like it. I wanted you to like it. I wanted you to like me. Okay? Expectation can lead to disappointment. And it can have all those various other branches between the seed of expectation and then the fruit, whatever fruit. Is it fruit of fulfillment, fruit of failure, fruit of disappointment, fruit of the loom? I don't know. Expectation can eventually lead through various stages to frustration, disappointment. Disappointment is kind of like accepting, okay, it's not somebody else's fault. Look, I had expectations. I had desires and commitments, maybe. Okay, maybe I had desires and commitments. I'm not bringing that up much in this whole thing so far. I haven't brought that up. But maybe I have desires and commitments. And then they don't happen. And I blame other people because I'm frustrated because they're not getting fulfilled. I had hopes to fulfill my desires and expectations. My hopes were frustrated. I blamed other people for my frustration and for the lack of fulfillment of my desires and commitments. And eventually, if I stop blaming them, if I slow down blaming them, I just realize I'm disappointed. I really, you know what? I do desire that. I do have a commitment to blah, 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 blah. I have a commitment or desire to the things I have commitment and desire about. And I didn't produce them. That's disappointment. So out of the worried confusion of desperate despair, so out of that desperate despair, which is really just a worried confusion, then next most severe form of confusion is hope. Hope is a form of confusion. Interesting. My sister and I hope that by disregarding the confusing data, you know, when the lightning struck more than once within 4 seconds, just by discarding that confusing data, we hope that we can determine if the expectation is accurate or not. Can we reasonably expect thunder 62% of the time after lightning, or 82% of the time? What is it? We need to know. We need to report this to the people who care. And we are, of course, committed to proving that our original presumption was right, our original expectation was right, that our enemy competition was wrong. If they said anything else, if they said 89%, if they said 51%, look, we said something else, and we know that what we said, listen, it must have been right because we said it. We're not liars. We wouldn't say wrong things because people shouldn't be liars, and that means that we shouldn't be liars. That means we're not, and we must prove that we're not by discarding any data to the contrary. Okay? So the commitment to particular results over another, like that we want to establish that's 62 to 82% of the time, is the correct amount of percentage of when thunder follows lightning. Okay, just because we're committed that it's somewhere between 62 and 82%, that's not bias in our case. In the case of my sister and I, it's not bias. We're just committed scientists because we're very rational about our desperation and panic and hysteria and so on, right? And our hope and our worry. We're very rational about it. In contrast to our enemies who are very biased in their commitment to proving that their expectations are not silly and childish and inaccurate and naive. They are doing it wrong, and we're just We're just justifying and rationalizing our irrational. Okay, what we said, our expectations and commitments and presumptions were. Look, it's not naive when we discard information that doesn't fit with our presumptions. Okay, that's not. No, that's. Okay, if it is naive, it's my sister's fault. It was her idea. Okay, moving on. Let's move on quickly because I don't want to get into all that. Moving on. Do you have any questions about this? Good. Write them down and send them to your senator. Call someone who cares. All right? We're moving on. Only other people have naive commitments. Certainly we do not. You and I, people like us, we don't have naive commitments. Our commitments are holy and pure and sacred and accurately expected presumptions here, people. Ours are never naive, okay? We do not make naive commitments. We are not naive. That's why we are never really desperate or confused or worried. No. We are just optimists, damn it! Why can't you see that, you freaking jerk? Jesus. These people, just forget it. Just forget it. Freaking jerks. They can't tell. We're optimists. We're not. Did you hear what she said about us? She said that we're irrational. She doesn't get it. We're just optimists. I mean, seriously. Jerks. Okay, so I was talking about how my little sister in step 42 of the 773 steps that we took together in step 42, she messed up, okay? Clearly, it's her fault. So, that justifies excommunicating her for heresy because she messed up in step 40. Wow, I just said sex, didn't I? In step 42 of the 773 that we took together, or she took most of them by herself. It was her idea, first of all. Did I mention that? Okay, it was her idea. Number one. Most of the steps I'm referring to, I did not. She took them by herself, and she said, "Hey, will you do this for me?" It was her idea, and I did it, and then it went poorly, and it's her fault. So we're excommunicating her for heresy. So I'm very disappointed in her, not in my expectations, but in her. Okay, my expectations and her disappointing my expectations are completely unrelated. It's her fault. She needs to be excommunicated for heresy. Am I clear about this? Or maybe I skipped resentment and blame and all that distress and hysteria, right? Antagonism, shaming her, and I just be with my shame and disappointment and dejection. Oh, I had an expectation, I had a commitment, a desire, whatever. Maybe I just reject my own expectation and withdraw that expectation. My expectation was wrong. Damn it. My expectation was wrong. So then I say, I will never make the mistake of expecting anything ever again. I will never make the mistake of expecting anything ever again. Further, when I do expect something again, I will definitely not tell anyone about it, especially not my sister. Okay, so I'm not a cynic. I'm just a realist. You can get what I'm talking about here. I'm not a cynic. I'm just a realist. Here's my reality, and you must believe it, or else I will excommunicate you for heresy, liberate you from your false expectations by killing you, and then declare that your death proves the accuracy of my expectations and why people should not challenge them and question them. I mean my reality, not my expectations. Why people should not challenge reality. The fact of the matter is the infallibility of papal decrees is based on the Declaration of Infallibility, which was made in a papal decree. Okay? So, are you ready? Are you ready? Really? Okay, listen, I don't care whether you're ready or not, but just for your information, whatever happens from here on, I'm going to call from by your consent. Okay, so everything that happens from here on, you have consented to already. Expectations are bad. They're bad because confusion is bad. I don't want to be confused, so I'm not going to have any expectations. There should not ever be confusion, so there should not ever be what? Expectations. People should be able to expect living many decades without a single instance of expectations or confusion. Okay, that's what people should be able to expect, right? There is nothing more shameful than the experience of confusion or the experience of having expectation and then having worry about it and hope about it and frustration about it and disappointment. Okay, this is getting out of hand. I want to clarify something at this stage. By the way, I have never been confused myself. All of the above stories about my little sister confusing me about thunder were largely fictional, especially because I do not have a little sister, to the best of my knowledge. If you were simply confused by them, by those stories, then that's simply an indication of the established fact that you are a bad person, perhaps the worst ever. Okay? You should not have been like that. You should be a perfectionist, but not to such an extent that it makes other people look bad, okay? Like, okay, seriously, could you back off? All right. You should look slightly bad, okay? You should try to be a perfectionist, sincere, but not really be, okay? Not that good, be slightly bad. Like not so good that it makes me look bad, okay? But not so bad that it makes me look bad, like in association and connection with you, okay? So, seriously, in brief, do not make me look bad ever. That would be bad. Don't do that. It would be very bad for me to look bad, and so it would be very bad for you to make me look bad. It'd be your fault if you did that. I would blame you. Because I don't have, listen, I don't have an insecurity already. When I met you, there was no insecurity. Then here you are. I meet you, like, okay, I already knew you, fine, whatever. Then at Tuesday at 2 o'clock, you come along, I don't have any insecurity. Then you come along, and all of a sudden, I have an insecurity. It's from you. You made me look bad, and I wasn't insecure about looking bad. But then, all of a sudden, you come along, and I'm insecure about looking bad. And then I do look bad because I'm feeling insecure because you're there, and it's Tuesday at 2 o'clock. And I mean, Jesus. There's nothing worse than me looking bad, okay? One time, I'll tell you a story. One time I looked bad. Not going to happen again. I don't want to talk about it. Not going to repeat it. I should never look bad. I should never have looked bad. It was your fault that I did. And I was afraid. I mean, looking bad, I'm afraid of it now. I'm insecure about it. I'm not insecure about it. I'm not insecure about it. Don't mention it. If you talk about it, then it's going to be you making me insecure. Okay, so just don't talk about it. I'm not insecure. Don't talk about it. Is that clear? Good. All right. So that's called paranoia, as in a severe or desperate form of worrying. The expectation that someone should never look bad is paranoia, which is evidence of a pre-existing shame or guilt, a distress of insecurity in the background already. I know that this is true because my little sister, who is a Mormon Catholic Jew, does not really exist, said Santa Claus. The worst possible development is that history includes myths designed to promote particular expectations about the future. Like if you do the good things, then Santa's going to give you good gifts. If you do the bad things, Santa's not going to give you gifts. Look, okay? If you do bad things, I'm going to call the frickin' babysitter. Oh, I'm going to call your grandma. I'm going to call your father. Do you want me to tell your father about this? All right, I didn't think so. So, there should be no such thing as myths. In other words, there should be no such thing as myths. Why should there be no such thing as myths? Because there are no such thing as myths, and there shouldn't be. And history does not include myths that are designed to promote particular expectations about the future. That would be ridiculous. My version of history is the only version for which it is possible that there is any accuracy. There's no other accuracy possible in any other version of history but mine. My version has a monopoly on accuracy. In fact, if you want to know how accurate a particular version of history is, then you can just compare it to my version. My version is authorized. Mine is the accurate version of history. Why? Because it's the accurate version of history. Anything that does not fit the expectations established through my version of accurate history must be a myth. How do you know if something's a myth? Does it conflict or contrast with my version of accurate history? If it does, it's a myth. All right, I'm glad we have that established. I'm glad that you consented to that in advance. If you do not believe me, then just wait and see if Santa Claus excommunicates my imaginary little sister for challenging my expectations about reality. My version of history. Not gonna fly. No, I guarantee that she is about to be excommunicated and shunned and disbarred and indefinitely imprisoned in a mental institution for her crimes of questioning the authorized King James Version of the Holy Roman Inquisition based on the Babylonian and Egyptian model. It is just a naturally inevitable fact, just as natural and inevitable as the fact that whenever there is lightning, then what always happens next, 82% of the time? Not just thunder, my little sister, but sincere expectations of thunder.